having two creative parents was it kind of made you believe that you could do it, that you could be an artist. They were pretty outrageous parents. It took from 1994 to 2002 before I started to sell art and started to like sustain my living and kind of make it a little bit. 2004, 2005, I was showing anywhere: garages, basements, roofs, bathrooms. Sometimes I kind of regret that. There's a couple red flags. If there's no budget and they want you to ship the work or something, you kind of have to have a governor in yourself that says, this sounds like I might be getting taken advantage of. I had kids later than my mom and dad. My kids are 9 and 3. See, so artists have kids later now because it takes more time to get established. And so once you're established, I think parenting's a little bit easier now than it would have been if I was 23. So being a parent now and an artist in my mid-40s is great because you're more successful, you're more together, you're more focused. I wouldn't have wanted to do it when I was in my 20s. I bounced around and I've taught a little bit, but I didn't want to teach full time. I always thought it was the kiss of death of your art career. But I've had some good years, and you just kind of pack it away. I'm trying to do some investments. There's no guarantees. You have months where you don't sell a piece, and then you sell 2 or 3, or you get a commission, and you get conditioned to live with less. Just all the way back to art school, you're used to living with nothing. So if you make 20 grand one month, you're like, whoa, it's all relative. The problem is if you make it a lot and then you start spending it and then you don't sell any art, that's where you can get in trouble. You just always have to remind yourself that it's a gift to sell art. It's a treat. I believe strongly in failures in the studio. Like, you have to fail to make a good piece. And I have 3 storage units full of art. So you don't sell it all, and you have to make mistakes to make good art. You have to. I'm not really a cool artist, parentheses. I'm definitely a handmade artist, and I think sometimes I've been in big kind of shows that straddle that line between craft and high art. And because I've done a lot of mosaicing, I've done some commissions that have mosaic tile and more functional stuff like benches, and I like to make things that are fun to look at. I enjoy the craft of making beautiful things. I'm not so interested in individuals. I'm more interested in kind of problems that we're facing as a society or as the world. And so I think when my themes got a little more universal, kind of man versus nature or man versus debris or urban versus rural, I think things expanded for me. When you start to address more universal themes, your audience gets bigger. Alan Capro said there's 2 types of work. There's art about art and there's art about life. And that's like the most profound thing I think you can take from like a teacher. I did make a lot of art about art, so that can also be a dangerous crutch too. That can limit your audience as well, just to the art world, and sometimes that can be dangerous. I'm not one of those artists that makes the same type of work every time, and that can maybe hurt me and help me sometimes because it keeps me interested and invested. But I think that gap is narrowing with each year. And if you look at my website or if you see my work, there tends to be threads throughout it. And a lot of it's just problem solving. It's like you're given a problem and you have to come up with a solution. And some of them are successful and some of them are failures. But in the end, you stand behind them, and I feel like there is a thread